The dust has settled on week 3 of the college football season. The email that I'm assuming went out to the majority of the teams across the college football landscape was, hey, make it as ugly as humanly possible and still find a way to win the football game. The committee now, they're going to get in their little tent. They'll huddle up. They'll talk about strength of schedule and rankings and all that. We have our nothing but ball poll that comes out on this very show. We're going to give you our college football playoff rankings as they stand today, Junior, right? Starting with the first 2 out and then going to our top 4 as it stands right now. This is going to change. I promise you a lot of these teams will end up getting tested down the road. Even so, using the eye test, here's what we got. Before we get into that though, make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. We talk college football and only college football. If you love this game, like we love this game, make sure you're locked in. It's college football and none of the additives, none of the high fructose corn syrup or agendas. It's just ball and only ball. We appreciate you for that. Also, follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at JD Piquel to let me know what y'all think the rankings should be. Your opinion, just for us to kind of have this interaction and build this college football community. So, without further ado, at number 6 on this week's rankings for us, the Ohio State Buckeyes. And the thing for me with Ohio State, the thing that was so refreshing, we got to see them flex the muscle a little bit, rev the engine, and look the part. Kyle McCord, he was dealing. Marvin Harrison Jr., he was doing Marvin Harrison Jr. things. They're going to shoot up the rankings should they win next week in South Bend, Indiana against Notre Dame. For us, though, right now, they're at number 6. Keep an eye on them. I promise you, if they keep winning, obviously they will not stay at number 6. At number 5, the Texas Longhorns. We were on hand to see what they did in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Slay the Dragon, Quinn Ewers and company. Now, how would they respond coming off a victory like that? Played Wyoming. Took a second to get going. They got the email that I mentioned at the top of this video. Even so, took care of business. Would have liked to see them just go out there and boat race them start to finish. You know, you don't always get what you want, but sometimes you get what you need, and you got what you needed in Austin, Texas for the Longhorns to get the dub. They're at number 5. At number 4, you got USC. Now, they had the very menacing bye week. Assuming they took care of business there, probably left the bye week undefeated. Now, for them, they go to Arizona State, and then they go to Colorado. So that game at Colorado, now you're starting to kind of need this defense to round into its final form of what it's going to be, because mid-October, now we talk about it a lot on this show, that's when it's go time for USC. Mid-October, you got to be ready to roll and be what you're going to be as a defense. The offense is going to take care of itself. Caleb Williams, the best player in college football. I would put him up against anybody, generational. He's going to give you a chance in every single game. That's why we have USC as high as we do. I think they're going to be a problem in any matchup because of number 13. So, speaking of numbers, USC at number 4 in this week's rankings for us. At number 3 now, keep talking about this email that apparently went out to everybody. Florida State, they got the memo, went back and forth with Boston College a little bit in the first half. They pulled away in the third quarter, was 31-10. Boston College scratches and claws and finds their way to make it close. Even so, though, Florida State taking care of business. I said it in our breakdown of that game. That may have been the best thing for Florida State heading into the game against Clemson for 2 reasons. 1, now Florida State has gotten punched in the mouth. So if they get punched in the mouth against Clemson, it won't be their first time having to kind of bounce back, find their bearings, and be able to respond. They've gotten to have that response muscle flexed a little bit, and that's the way that you build a muscle, is by getting it worked out. So they worked out the response muscle. The other part of this for Florida State, they now have some things on tape that you can point to and say, hey, we got to get better. We got to get better. If you play that way against Boston College and you play that way against Clemson, you're getting beat. And nobody in that room wants to get beat, I promise you. So, Florida State would have liked it to look better, but again, it was the week of just find a way to win the football game and move on to week 4. Florida State did that. They're at number 3 in this week's rankings. At number 2, Michigan. Final score didn't leave a lot to be desired, but J.J. McCarthy did not look super clean. Even so, still won the game, got it done. The tough part for Michigan going forward now, their schedule is extremely backloaded. So for them, it's going to be a task of, can you stay internally motivated? Can you keep on pressing to get better? Because other teams across the country, they're having more resistance. Ohio State's playing Notre Dame next week. That's going to be good resistance for them. Michigan doesn't really get that until a little bit later in the schedule in terms of playing a more talented roster. So for Michigan, can you make it a thing during practice where you keep on building and ramping up for that latter part of your schedule to be the team you need to be when it comes time for you to play really meaningful football games against rosters that are more talented? So Michigan, nothing to get dropped in the rankings. A win's a win. Did what you're supposed to do. Number 2 in this week's rankings. Georgia passed the test at home against South Carolina. Fall camp just ended actually last week for Georgia. Not literally, but by nature of who they've played so far. Georgia just took care of business, all right? They got down in the first half, found a way to flex that response muscle we talked about with Florida State. Carson Beck, you want to see him maybe loosen the wing up a little bit, swinging around the yard a little bit more. Even so, when push came to shove, Georgia fell back on their traits, never panicked, gritty football team, Kirby Smart kind of coached football team, and the depth and talent war on South Carolina allowed them to get the win. So what they are right now, I cannot stress this enough. Georgia was not exposed. They're still acclimating. Give them time. We saw this last year from them where they had a couple of games. They didn't look phenomenal, but come November, I promise you, nobody wants to play Georgia. So to recap it for you, at number 6, we got Ohio State. At number 5, we got Texas. Both those teams, I promise you, they keep winning, they will move up. USC at number 4 coming off a bye, did nothing to get dropped. Florida State at number 3, find a way to win. Michigan at 2, and Georgia at number 1 in this week's rankings. Again, follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter at JD Piquel. I want to know what y'all think the rankings should be. The AP poll will come out. The college football playoff rankings will eventually come out. These are our college football playoff rankings. Want to hear from y'all, so get at me on there. And make sure you're subscribed right here. All right? We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.